But the conditioned soul roams around in this setting, assuming, thinking many things. What is his main drive is sense gratification. He blindly pursues sense gratification only. And he sacrifices many important things for the sake of sense gratification. Sense gratification is also can be understood as immediate gratification. What is immediately available for me for taking? And why do people do this immediate gratification? Is because they don't have an understanding of what is the goal, what is the vision, who are you, what are you doing here, how you should have gratification. The Shastra is not saying you should not have gratification, because by nature the soul is seeking gratification. Anandamayo bhyasat. Ananda. And he is seeking that everywhere, and it is natural because Krishna himself is the supreme enjoyer. He is the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. There also he is the enjoyer of everything. It's mentioned. So part and parcel of Krishna, mamaivam sa jivaloke, should also have the tendency to enjoy. But you're situated in the wrong place with the wrong surrounding, wrong facility to be able to enjoy the same way that you are due as a spirit soul. That is the problem. But the enjoying tendency is there, and you have cut off your connection with Krishna, and you are put into this material world, and you take this to be real, and you are pursuing that gratification tendency with temporary material objects. So gratification is the focus. For the soul, always in the conditioned state, forgetful of himself, he tries to gratify only the senses, thinking I am this body. Prakriti sthani karshati is struggling to gratify himself. Although it is naturally very easy for him to do, organically it can be done. So this is the situation he is in. And the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita also describes Urdhvamulam atashakam ashvattam prahurabhyayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavit adaschordhvam prakritastasya shakha gunapravridha vishayapravalaha adascha mulani anusantantani karmanubandhini manushya-loke. Karmanubandhini manushya-loke. Where are they bound up? Inside this inverted banyan tree, the illusory banyan tree. Urdhvamulam adashakam. Roots on top and branches down. Inside that he is moving around. That is the depiction of the material world. Upside down. Inside that you are getting your sense gratification. So there is a graphic description here in terms of analyzing the situation of the soul. And that's what is very interesting. It's interesting because you see that the spirit soul, although part and parcel of Krishna, is temporarily arrested in this situation. And he is thinking that he is enjoying. And his whole faculties and the setup that he has, that actually is working against him, his self-interest. Nate viduhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Swartha means what is my self-interest. For knowing what is my self-interest, you should know who am I. Then only you know what is your self-interest. But this is a program working on you, wherein you are made to feel that you are this body, and gratifying the senses is the prime aim of life. So you're pursuing that. It is not the real aim of life. It is not the activity that is going to give you the enjoyment that you're thinking of. So here, in the graphic description that is given, senses are called plunderers. Also, the wife and the children are also called plunderers. Plundering means taking away your treasure, the asset. All that you have painfully accrued and collected is being taken away by somebody, and you cannot be the enjoyer of it. You collect money and keep, you buy assets like jewels and diamonds and everything, you lock it in the safe. Somebody comes and takes out your entire collection and enjoys it himself. So he's plundering, he's dacoiting, he's thieving and taking away your assets. That's what is plundering. What doesn't belong to me, which I want to enjoy, somebody else has, I take it out of him and I enjoy. I become a plunderer. So here, senses are compared to be plunderers. And they are plundering what? Are they plundering some asset? Yes, they are. What is that asset? That's a subtly intangible asset. Your time, your energy, your valuable human form is being diverted to focus on sense gratification. And sense gratification and the time required for it steals away your human life. Ayurharadi vaipumsan udyan astanchayan asau. That's, what is it? Yes, yeah. Tatshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. Yakshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. Tasyarte yakshano nita. That you must understand that the sun is rising and setting every day and time is moving. Within that particular time, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, that is devotional service to the Supreme Lord, you will get robbed of your time. If you spend your time instead on material gratification, you have lost that time which should have been effectively spent in self-realization and Krishna conscious devotional service. Human life is meant for that purpose. So when anybody else takes the time away, you're getting plundered. Sometimes your relatives take your time. They take your time because they want to pick your brains. They want you to solve the community problems in the family or the relatives problems and all that. And all these are diversions from the main goal of life. The main goal of life, Nati vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. I told you that Vishnu Gati is the main goal of life. And if one does any activity that doesn't help him in progressing in that, he is losing. He is losing. All our activities should be connected in some way or the other towards Seva to Vishnu. Otherwise, you're losing time. You're losing time. So, what do the senses do? The senses have some sort of a contract with the sense objects. And they will constantly be pulling the soul towards engagement in objects, material objects. And an educated soul who has read read the Vedas under a guru, studied the Vedas under a guru, is properly understood, and he is able to practice, that person can understand that it is important that I don't spend my time uselessly. So he doesn't engage the senses and the mind in anything of gratification. Yahi samparshaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavantahi kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Intelligent people will not engage in sense gratification, knowing it is adi antavanta dukkam. Dukkayonaya evate. They know that it some will give you misery. And on top of that, it takes away your time. It's very, very deeply entangling and miserable sense gratification. That is mentioned, but still the living entity will be very attracted because he has not developed a taste for hearing Krishna's glories, not developed a taste for serving Krishna. Even though he has that great opportunity, he is dragging his feet. This is what happens. So first thing is to get the human form of life, which is very, very rare. Durlava manava janma, janama satsange. Instead of spending it in satsanga and keeping away from gratification, somehow or the other, gratification seeps in the subtlest of forms or in the grossest of forms, and plunders your time. And the chief agents for that are the senses. Engaging the senses. It happens very subtly. It happens even to people who are dedicated. It happens even to sannyasi. It happens even to, Bharata Maharaj. He spent his time with the deer. He was having a subtle gratification, emotional gratification. And he got carried away by it. It's the most glaring example of a person who gave up so many things and came to the forest only to be diverted by a deer. And then he developed affection for the deer so much he stopped all his Krishna conscious practices. Total huge plundering was done. Small plundering can continuously happen. Somebody can be, plundering is of various types. Somebody can be repeatedly every day taking small portions away. Somebody can come and take a huge chunk. Somebody can come and take the entire lot of it out. In the case of Bharata Maharaj, everything was lost. All the things that he had gained by his austerity and come to the point of bhav bhakti. Everything is plundered because his mind was not fixed. A mind got attached to the deer. And then through the mind followed all the senses. He was just kissing the deer and placing it on his chest and completely absorbed in the deer when he passed away. Unfortunate. He should be completely absorbed in Krishna. Unfortunately, he got absorbed in the deer. This is plundering. It came in the form of a deer to plunder him. So there are many objects nowadays that plunder our senses. So this instant gratification is very attractive, immediately available right now here. In fact, they did an experiment in psychologists about instant gratification and long-term gratification. They also know that gratification is important. But they said that those who are able to stay away from instant gratification can actually enjoy in the long term. There's a very nice thing, scale down whatever Krishna is saying in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, that keep away your mind and senses from this instant gratification of the objects of the senses and practice this austerity and climb over it beyond it. Then you can have very big sense gratification on the spiritual realm. You don't call it sense gratification, you can call it ananda, bliss. If you restrain yourself now, you can enjoy later. It is just like that if you have to write the exam and you have to become very successful, the child is told, my dear Kanna, don't use the phone now. Every day you're allowed only half an hour phone, but you have to study. After the exams are over, you can take the phone, even I'll buy you another one device also. But now don't do it. So he keeps it in mind. Okay, I'll study for the exam. Because why? There is a promise of gratification in much better way, in a much bigger, doubled, redoubled way after my exams are over. So he studies in the exams very well. And truly, at the end of it, his mother gives him, okay, take it. Exams are over. So he sits and enjoys watching this, that, everything, and nobody's going to tell anything to him. Similarly, immediate gratification, if you can keep off, long-term gratification is available to you. So they did this experiment. Even in ordinary mundane world, they believe that those who can keep away from immediate gratification tend to become more stable and better organized, and they have better gratification later in life. How is it they found this? I don't know. They used a marshmallow. Marshmallow is some sweet, and it's very favorite amongst kids. So they did this experiment. They got a kid and put him there and said, very nicely spoke to him, very nice. We're going to give you a gift. Just you have to answer some questions. Okay. So I'm placing this marshmallow, very nice looking. I'm going to go from here. If you don't eat the marshmallow and keep quiet and hold yourself, then when I come back, I will give you another marshmallow. And this and this. But if you eat the marshmallow, I will not be able to give you that when I see you next. Okay? They said, okay. The kid is very happy. And there's a beautiful video of them showing the kid all alone in the room with the marshmallow in front. It's so disturbing. It's looking at the marshmallow and then closing the eyes and then telling himself, no, if I wait for some time, I'll get 2 marshmallows. Let's not eat this. It's controlling himself. It's damn funny, actually. And then one of the kids just touched the marshmallow a little bit and then put the hand back. And then another one touched a little bit and tasted a little bit and put the hand back. And another one looked around here and there. As soon as the person was gone, I don't know. And he started eating the marshmallow. Several of them immediately waited for some time and ate it up. But very few of them were able to keep themselves away from eating. And they followed these people in the next 9 to 10 years. They found that those people who had immediate gratification were not really performing well in school. They didn't make it to college and all that. But those who were able to delay the gratification and wait for that person to come after half an hour, 1 hour, and give him another marshmallow and then enjoy both 2, 3 together, they were people who were able to perform very well in school and in college and became successful in life. Right? So that is very interesting. I remember seeing this long back. So I wanted to just say, delayed gratification will give you greater benefit and success. Is proved in a scaled down way even in the material world. So what is being asked here in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Vedic literature is, as a human being, do not overindulge in gratification. The maximum that you can hold it back, that much you will get better gratification, many millions of times multiplied. And this is available only to the human being. So the human being, he should be an intelligent person. An intelligent person who actually does not stay away, does not have to actually sacrifice the attitude of sense gratification. He has to only understand that this is not the place to do it. I can do it in a better way later. And if he can hold himself. So this is always asked of you. So if you don't, these senses will plunder your wealth. What is that wealth? The time. The useful human life will be spent in gratification. If you do that, your destination will be lower down in the species. You lose the human form of life. So you have to be very careful. And this is not only for ordinary people. So even meant for people like Bharata Maharaj, even meant for full-time devotees in the ISKCON ashram who are committed with saffron cloth and brahmacharis and everything. You have to be very careful that everything does not pass off as devotional service. We have to be knowing very well where we are using the facilities for gratification, very subtly. And you'll be plundered also. Don't think because you're wearing saffron cloth and staying in the ashram and you're a full-time devotee, you're not being plundered. You're very much being plundered. Especially if you start functioning without listening to your authority, without doing things as per instructions, and having facilities and everything which you may not be knowing how to utilize. This is a very complicated thing. In the name of Krishna consciousness, in the name of devotional service, we can get plundered. If you do not know how to use the facilities in Krishna's service, it's not an easy thing at all. It can bewilder even Bharata Maharaj. So what to speak of you and me? So unless one is tied himself up properly and is willing to go through the austerity of listening to somebody else, an authority, it is very difficult to control yourself from not having this subtle gratification or even gross gratification. Like, simple thing, you can overeat on prasadam. In the temple, you have an opulent prasadam arrangement. Yesterday, I was just speaking to my assistant and I was eating prasadam. I said, so many sabjis, Lord Jagannath is looking after me. But sometimes I feel that I don't want to eat this. I'll taste everything little bit. And I want to eat only buttermilk rice and this thing, but I will eat the vegetables and like that. I was just committing to him and saying that I don't think everybody at home are eating like this. So I asked him, do you eat like this at home? He said, no, at home only one sabji. One sambar, one sabji, buttermilk. That's all. We don't eat like this. And he was saying that with strong element in it. I don't eat like this. We don't eat like this. It's only you are eating like this. And for a moment, I felt that, wow, I'm eating every day like this. And I can get used to it. Then after a little bit of thought, I looked up and say, actually, I've been spoiled. I've got myself spoiled by continuously eating this Mahaprasadam every day. Raghunath Das Goswami knew that this will spoil me. And although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept him with him, he's a Zamindar's son, and he said, Damodar, Swarup Damodar, please look after him. I hand him over to you. He is called Swaruper Raghu. Hereafter belongs to you. Give him all the advice and everything. Right now he has come a very long way. Let him have some nice prasadam. So the whole plate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he ate, very little he eats, he is given to him. It's a lot of prasadam. He ate it. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, he ate it. After that, he left the place. Because he thought that, why, I didn't come here every day to eat a meal like this. What will happen to my spiritual life if I eat a meal like this every day? And I didn't come here for this. I could have very well got these things in my home. I'm a Zamindar's son. And at my beck and call, I would have got. I didn't come here for this. So he started going and begging in the Simhadwara gate in front of Jagannath. And there he was begging. Look at this, how he has managed very well. There he was begging, and there also he left. He said, this is also not good because it's very disturbing to wait and expect. And it gets disturbed, your mind gets disturbed. So he went to the backside where all the prasadam has become rotten and dumped for the cows to eat. He was washing that and eating. He said, I have no mental anxiety. Will I get my food or not? Plenty is available here. Whenever I want, I clean it up a little bit here and there and I eat it up. That's enough for me. He managed that no plundering will occur. It didn't allow it to occur. He managed his internal affairs. So all of us have to manage our internal affairs. For some people, more prasadam is required because their body is big, the metabolism is different. For some people, less is required. Bhima had to eat a lot to keep up his body, and his metabolism is different. But others were not eating. They felt that I don't have to eat like this because if I eat like this, I'm finished. So each one has got his own limits and boundaries. Accordingly, one should be able to understand and not allow the senses to plunder. This what is the meaning of saying that that you must not eat too much, you must not eat too less. You must not sleep too much, you must not sleep too less. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu Yukta swapna vabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. The art of being a yogi, the art of eating, sleeping, and doing everything is what makes you a yogi. So, not allowing the senses to plunder you requires culture, practice, working under a guru, listening to him, practicing obedience. All these things are very important. If we treat it lightly, you will see that's the type of life we will get. One should impose on himself some austerity. It's called voluntary austerity. Voluntarily accepting some austerity. Otherwise, the default wiring is one will simply go and indulge his senses. The default wiring for every conditioned soul is to you run behind gratification. Mano rathe nasati dhavato bahi. You run with the mind completely off, chasing this illusory mirage of an enjoyment. So, plundering is occurring when we give in to sense gratification, and the senses always want to engage with the sense objects. They are always pulling the soul. And in this way, valuable time of human life is lost. So that's why what the rishis and sages do is get away and go to the forest. There's nothing attractive there in that sense. To engage the senses. It's peaceful, it is sattvic, it is very nice, and the birds and the beasts, they are very supportive of sadhus. And there, nothing crazy can happen unless Indra sends apsaras and everybody like that. So you can focus away from any temptations, away from any other distractions. But even there, if you don't focus on Krishna consciousness properly, then even a deer can spoil your whole spiritual life. So at no point of time are you going to be free of the danger of sense gratification. You must be vigilant and consciously, mindfully not engage in sense gratification and engage in devotional service. Material nature is going to do everything possible to keep you engaged in sense gratification so that you can be stuck in the material world. But the goal of life is to become free from material influence. So this is a real tangle. A devotee, by understanding that these same things which are used for gratification, let me use it for the gratification of Krishna. Hrishikena Hrishikesh Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. What I am doing all this time, using my body and my senses and the objects for my pleasure, I will use my body, my mind, my senses, and the material world and its objects in serving Krishna and making Krishna pleased. If it turns around like that, that person is intelligent. That person is intelligent. Right? So, nateshu ramate buddha. That the intelligent people are not interested in engaging with this. So, what we see today is all based, the whole world is based on sense gratification only. They have decided not even strain themselves to put themselves in varnashrama, put themselves in religious boundaries or anything, moral, ethical boundaries. They said, just do whatever you want to do, enjoy how you want. So this is a wild society which perpetuates and perpetrates sense gratification in a big way. And Bhagavad Gita is telling us, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Tasya iva heto prayateta kovido nalabhyate uparyadam talabhyate anyavad kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. I'm forgetting the in-between shlokas. That everybody should endeavor for that purpose which is not available in uparyadaha. By traveling in this universe, in this whole material creation from top to bottom, you will not get it. You should endeavor for that thing only, not what you get very easily in this world. sense gratification. So, although we are here in the world of objects, in the world of matter, we are asked not to become entangled in matter, but ask for something greater and beyond this. Taseva heto prayate takovido nalabhyate brahmatam uparyadaha tallabhyate anyavat sukham khalena sarvatra gabir ramasa. Very beautiful shloka from the Bhagavatam. See how fine and how wonderful are the instructions given for leading a good life. And it is so involving your personality, your free will, and your own existence. You have to be involved fully, mindfully involved in chartering your course, right? So immediate gratification is danger because you get plundered. What you should do is actually ward it off and get gratification later in plenty, in a more safer way, in the natural way, as spirit soul. This is conditioned soul's enjoyment. The liberated soul, the pure spirit soul's enjoyment is completely 180 degrees apart. So therefore, we must be careful how we engage our time, energy, and we can utilize whatever we have as material assets. Organize it nicely for rendering service to Krishna. These are the few things mentioned here. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. Any questions? I will leave 5 minutes for questions. Any questions? Okay. Since there are no questions, Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Nittai Gaura Premanande.